Well,
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the 95 North Sports Machine. I am your host, Bruno. Oh,
hmm
that was bad.
if I had a hood, I'd put that mother sucker up too.
Man, oh man. But I know lots of talk about Falcon fans. I know it's not all good in the ATL right now, man. Falcons got trounced, got mollywop, dog walk, you name it. It happened to them. 38-6 is the final score. Falcons traveled to Denver and just, man, got steamrolled. Chris, what's going on? Smitty, of course, you already know, man. And we got a special guest coming back again to the 95 North Sports
Yes,
Machine, our
sir.
brother Cameron Farmer from Go Time PC. What's going on, man? Hope all is well with you. Thank you for joining the show again. I'm gonna give the floor to you, young man. You go ahead and you give us in your best intellectual output of what this game meant to you, my brother.
First of all, I just want to say thank y'all for having me on again. It's an honor and
Yeah.
a privilege to be on here for real. What this game meant to me, man. We're screwed. I'm not even gonna lie. No, all jokes aside, that was an abysmal performance. And what's funny? I wasn't even at home when I was watching it. I was actually on the way to get my hair cut, and I was kind of going against rules of the road. Not supposed to have your phone out while driving, and I was kind of tuning into the game just a little bit, and then I see first quarter Denver already has a touchdown. I'm like, we're good. Like, I ain't tripping. Like, easy. Next thing you know, I'm in my barber's chair, and then he has red zone, so we're not watching the Atlanta game in totality. And I come out, I go to Kroger, and I'm just watching the game, and it's 28-7 still. And I'm sorry, it's 28-6. And I'm like, we're in trouble. And you got to tip your hat off. I told myself I wasn't gonna get angry. I'm gonna tip my hat off to Denver. Bo Nix is playing like he's gonna give Jaden Daniels a run for his money for Rookie of the Year.
Right.
Cortland Sutton is that guy. Pat Surtain, Marvin Mims, all those dudes. We got out coached as much as we got outplayed. I will say that our defense, that was probably the worst performance our defense has put on this entire season. And we've lost up until this point, we've lost 4 games. And it wasn't, all of those games weren't as bad. Like, they weren't as bad as today. And I'm gonna let y'all take the floor because I know y'all want to say some stuff about Coach Lake. But I would be remiss if I said we were definitely missing a lot of pieces on our defense. I will say that. But that does not negate the fact that Coach Lake should have had these dudes ready. I knew Denver was going to be a force because they had a chip on their shoulder coming into this game, specifically from last week. And I'm going to be real, like, the game was stolen from them. No disrespect to Kansas City, who just lost like 15 minutes ago. But they got, that game was stolen from them. So they was like, oh, we're going back on our turf. We finna show y'all why we should have won that game in the first place. And boy, they came out and punched us in the mouth. But I will say that I do think that Jimmy Lake still should have had those dudes ready. Even I would have taken the loss if it was 38, if it was 38-30. But the fact that we didn't even score a touchdown is crazy, bro. So I'm gonna let y'all take. Baby girl Falcon Diva said, "Fire Jimmy Lake." That's all I have to say. About to watch TV and calm my nerves. That's real. So I'm gonna let y'all take.
Yeah, man. I mean, you brought up something, right? Yes, we were missing a lot of pieces defensively and stuff like that. But if this scheme was any good, those guys would have been ready to play, right? And play at a level, if not in par, but a little bit more than the guys that they were replacing. This just screams that this scheme is trash. This scheme needs to be scrape, whatever, and thrown out the window. And you could take Jimmy Lake along with him too. That scheme and Jimmy Lake can go. Post-bye, I'm expecting changes from this Falcons team, man. Has to 100%, man. You can't go into the bye week, or Raheem can't go and say, "Oh, it's almost getting there," because I'm tired of listening to that too. I'm tired of these optimistic speeches that he gives, bro. We want to see the results now. We were all catfished in that Cowboys game, which led us not to make a move the very next week in the trade deadline because we acquired 3 sacks in that Cowboys game. Nah, man, this team is a defense that needs help. Yo, I just saw something in the comment. Go ahead, Chris.
So everybody take a deep breath. Hey, no. I mean, everybody has to take a deep breath.
Killing me, bro.
At the end of the day, let's just be honest, man. Piss poor performance tonight. Oh my goodness. We got you got Sean Payton sweeping in the NFC South. All that stuff is irrelevant though, man. Just like Berto said, this scheme is trash. Because at the end of the day, you see that what the Aints are doing, right? I'm just saying they got injuries and stuff like that going on too, but they got newfound life. You know, they got newfound life. They got Dennis Allen out of there, and they got newfound life. Next thing you know, you got what the Buccaneers about to come off by, and the Panthers coming off by. The pressure is on the Falcons. Everybody's just going to play their game now. All the pressure is on the Falcons when you could have been going into the bye week with some things kind of locked up. Instead, you are 6-5 going into the bye. And after the bye week, it's not like you got guarantees on wins like that. Honestly, you can look at these games, bro, and it's not really any real confidence, especially with these injuries. The injuries is just the icing on the cake. But we had problems with this defense and this scheme beforehand with all the bending and the don't breaking and all this other stuff like that and all the other Dan Quinn type of stuff that people be screaming. At the end of the day, man, we were talking about how this defense was having trouble. And I'm not just letting Zach Robinson out of the door either because he has to call better plays too. Like, what are you doing, sir? Like, you ain't even putting our offense in the best predicament to even be successful. Like some of these play calls, like we throwing so much, but you know, we had the tempo going with Bijan, then you go away from that, then it's like 3rd and 1. You know what I'm saying? You're not running the ball, you're passing the ball. Then on defense, they have a 3rd and 1, and you're gonna play 7 yards off. Like, what? Yeah. So it just doesn't make any sense. But I know Smitty been waiting. I'm gonna let him go ahead and go because I know he been looking up in the sky, trying to figure out how many different ways he gonna cuss out Jimmy Lake. So go ahead on, bro. Go do your thing, man. Do your thing.
Well, now that we done got that out the way, yeah, I got to go in, man. I'm sorry. I'm gonna start Raheem Morris. I'm gonna start at the top. We were so happy that this guy got hired to be the coach. And I'm just telling y'all like this, and my boy Berto brought this up when we had a conversation the other day. His ego is not going to let him make changes, and I hate it because if he doesn't, he's going to cost himself his own job. This is why he got fired in Tampa Bay because he couldn't get his own way. When you're the leader of the team, you got to make sure these coordinators doing their job, and he trusted them too much. And it's no shot at nobody, but Jimmy Lake. And I'm not gonna put it all on Jimmy Lake because of the personnel, because we all know we should have made moves at the trade deadline or before the trade deadline. So in that aspect, there's still veterans out there that can come in and help this team, but you're still trying to go with what you got, and that's not gonna work. It's been showing the last 4 or 5 games that it's not gonna work. The offense carried us 4 games in a row that we won. Now that the offense is fluttering, the defense we're having to lean on the defense, and we see that's not going to work. And by the third quarter, this defense was gassed because they were moving up and down the field at will. And can you win the football game doing that? Hell no, you can't. Kirk Cousins looking like an MVP candidate just 2 weeks ago in that last win. Last 2 games, he looked like he fresh off IR. And it looks like he's just confused at what's going on the field. It shows me it's still disconnect with him and Zach Robinson. And after 11 games, that should not be. That just tells me he's not buying into this anymore. and the defense, they're not buying into what Jimmy Lake is doing anymore. So as a coach going into this bye week, you got to sit down with Zach Robinson and Jimmy Lake, and you got to take strip powers from Jimmy Lake either way. And I see people keep saying, let's switch to a 4-3 defense. We don't even have the personnel for that anymore.
Also,
And the reason why I say that, when you lose that confidence, I don't give a damn what scheme you play. You can play a 3-4, 4-3. Yeah, you can play a 1-9 and still won't do shit. So at this point, the only way to save this season, strip the defense from Jimmy Lake, get on Zach Robinson's ass, pause, and you just got to find a way to implement that energy that you had in the beginning. Because if you don't, you're going to lose this team. You're going to lose your job. And when you lose that locker room, hey.
I mean, for all the clamoring with
hold on. And the crazy part is, if Jerry Gray is the assistant head coach, why is this team fluttering so fast?
Yeah.
He ain't got no real voice.
Yeah.
But if he's the assistant head coach,
I know.
You mean to tell me y'all can't put y'all heads together, come up with a game plan that's at least going to get this team a good sense of urgency? The last 2 weeks they played like we are 6-4. They played like a 2-7, 2-8 team. Keep it real with y'all.
No, for
but
real.
Go ahead, Berto. My bad.
No. You good, bro. You good. I mean, you talk about, we're harking on Jimmy, like, and rightfully so, right? But you mentioned Zach Robinson, and I'll ask this, and as crazy as this may be as a question, I'm gonna fucking ask it anyways. Has this Falcons offense already peaked? Have we seen the best of this Falcons offense in 11 weeks? You played a New Orleans Saints team last week that was very limited defensively. We couldn't capitalize on that. Same thing happened with the Seattle Seahawks. It's too much of the same stuff when we're playing these lesser teams that we can't take advantage of, right? I know the Broncos team was going to be tough, right? You host guys like Patrick Surtain, Zach Allen, Nick Bonito. You have guys that can get after it. But in essence, what is Zach Robinson stifling his own self by not evolving on a week in and week out basis? This is a team where today we saw 0 from Tyler Algier. Now make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on a day that you could have used, you could have utilized Tyler Algier on this aggressive style of play that Van Joseph trots out with his defense to possibly lessen some of this pass rush that was going on for Denver. The quick passes, the screens. Tyler Algier, both he and Bijan, these are the all-purpose backs. Why?
But didn't we say that in the preview though, Berto? Like the same stuff. Same stuff on how you can try to know this pass rush, and we didn't do none of it. Then we went away from the run game, bro. We had a season low in rushing yards today.
Yeah.
50 rushing yards, 226 total yards. And Kirk Cousins, second game in a row, no touchdowns. So your question is not a crazy question at all. It's really a legit question to ask. With the personnel that we have and with the scheme and everything, with the plays that he's dialing up on offense right now, like our defense is starting to figure you out.
Yeah, I mean, I know that the teams that we've played, they do, they run a lot of man and stuff like that. So obviously the Falcons not having a world beater at the wide receiver position, speed wise, plays a lot into it. But still, you can definitely hide some of that, within your scheme offensively to get these guys open. Bro Talk spoke about it so much. These pick plays and routes and stuff like that to limit these aggressive one-on-one coverages and stuff like that. We don't even do that. So that's why I ask, has Zach peaked as an offensive coordinator in this year? Like, what else can he do?
I don't want to say that
again, man.
It's like I don't want to say that he's peaked, but the question is valid. That's what I definitely will say. Like, because we still have a second half of the season. We definitely can revisit that at the end of the season, though, for sure. You know what I'm saying? But right now, I'm a hold off on that right now. But God damn, bro, it's just like, come on now, like It's like everything is predictable. Some of this stuff that we really be seeing on the TV, on offense and defense, we all sitting around. We either at the game, we either watching it on TV, listening to radio, listening to one of the Falcon podcasters, and we already know what's kind of coming. We already know what's coming. So I'm just saying, the guys that get paid the big bucks, man, the guys that getting these contracts, what do you think they doing? The coaches that all they do is live and breathe football for real, what do you think they're gonna do? Like it's too vanilla, and I don't want no more soft shell tacos. Cam, what you about to say?
I was about to piggyback off of what you said. I think, Berto, your question is extremely valid, right? I think there's only been one game out of the 6 games that the Atlanta Falcons have won. There's only been one where they've won by more than 2 scores, more than 1 score. It was against the Panthers. And all of their games have been virtually 1-score games, not taking away from the wins. Obviously, I was sitting right here, with you guys a few weeks ago about Tampa Bay and how they've, and how Atlanta has a lot of weapons, but it doesn't feel like every game, like to my knowledge, there hasn't been a game outside of Carolina where Atlanta has imposed their will like Denver did to us. I can't go down all the other, for the sake of time, I can't go down the list, but y'all keep up with a lot of teams outside of the Falcons. Y'all see the high scoring games that they be putting up. Y'all see Lamar Jackson. Right. Y'all be seeing Joe Burrow. Y'all be seeing Jaden Daniels. Right? Y'all be seeing that. But the Lions, right? The Lions is what, like, Jared Goff just probably made a very strong case that he is probably going to win the MVP. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think to your question, Berto, do I think that our offense has peaked? I'm going to hold off on answering that because there's still a lot of football to be played left. However, in the last 2 games, tonight and last week's, Kirk hasn't thrown any touchdowns.
Yeah.
The last time Kirk threw multiple touchdowns was, I want to say, was it at Tampa Bay? Because I think he threw.
Yeah, he threw 4.
That was National Tight End Day.
You know what I'm saying? National Tight End Day.
And that one too. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't answer that right now because I don't want to say something and like one of the comments was like, our emotions are high, so I don't want to say nothing right now. But if it were, if Atlanta was in Washington, like they're going to be in a few weeks, the last game before their regular season finale against Carolina, then yeah, we could probably answer that clearly. But I do think Raheem Morris going into week 12 or week 13, which is the next time they play, I don't really want to hear that we're going to, it's coming together. We got to give us some time to come together. And their last 2 games up until this week's game, their last 2 games was against the Saints and the Cowboys. We were catfished because when they played the Cowboys and they had multiple sacks on Dak, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe Grady Jarrett, maybe Jimmy Lake's words are starting to come into fruition. Maybe this is the day. Maybe we're starting to see a turnaround with their defensive line. Maybe, just maybe, I'm content with them not making any moves at the trade deadline. But then today, and then last week, I'm like, well, we're right back to square one. We're right back to where we were. And like Atlanta Falcons fan Demi said, everybody under Terry Fontenot needs to be held accountable. Absolutely. There is not a single person is without fault. Not a single person should not be held accountable. And as I have said on public record, and Berto, you've seen my TikToks.
Of course.
Chris, Smitty, y'all have seen my TikTok. I have verbally stated that we owe Terry Fontenot an apology. I said that in August, before the season even started. It is November. It's almost Christmas. I'm just going to say that. You know what I'm saying? So I do think, again, I hate to kind of be redundant, but to your point, Berto, that's a very valid question. And I do think that is one that it's worth asking, because how can we not ask that and think, oh, well, Atlanta's going to be fine. We'll just go into the bye week, recharge, regroup, and then come back December 1st. They play the Chargers. At this rate, any game is losable. As much as they are winnable, any game is losable. So,
and something has to be changed up there at Flowery Branch, y'all. Like some real looking in the mirror, real soul searching and everything. And I get it. We still have a long season ahead. But again,
season getting short about a week. Season not as long as you think.
Right.
Short about a week.
And week after week, you know what I'm saying, we're seeing, you know what I'm saying, we're not seeing complete games. We haven't seen complete games all season long outside of what maybe the Panthers, and you really can combat that. So we always had problems, and now we have injuries on top of our problems. If some of these injuries that we're having are long term, some guys are already on IR. But what about the D offers? What about the Mike Hughes? What about Kevin King and everybody else that went out today? Zach Harrison went out today. You know, if these are long term, the Falcons really do have an uphill battle. And it's not all just, you know, so we can't just all just sit here and just be like, oh, okay, everything will be fine. Because we've been doing that all year anyway. We can't just keep singing Kumbaya. We got to make some changes, y'all, because we're going to start losing games in a minute. Like
we
real.
Do, and let me. Oh, go ahead. Speak.
Let me say this right quick. I'm not gonna say that we done peaked on his offense done peaked. It's just as simple as this. He needs to learn to make adjustments as the game go on. And the reason why it hasn't peaked, we see what this offense can be as a whole. He is not taking advantage of matchups. That is his problem altogether. That has been his problem the whole season. What have I told y'all all season about Kyle Pitts? If Kyle Pitts controlled the middle of the field, that opens up the run game. They didn't target Kyle Pitts probably number 2 times this game. So you mean to tell me that pass rushing linebackers, he can't take advantage of pass rushing linebackers because you know they can't cover if they always run it downhill. That is a fact. So you mean to tell me you can't make that adjustment as to where Kyle Pitts is a big part of this game plan for you to control the clock, control the football? And I told y'all that was going to be the key, controlling the clock. They didn't do it at all this game. They couldn't even have a consistent. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, man. I just got to say this. I got to get this shit off my chest, bro. And it is about Kyle Pitts, bro. The ship has sailed with my optimism for Kyle. I saw enough today that would allow me to think Kirk Cousins doesn't trust Kyle Pitts because of Kyle Pitts' work ethic or his game.
He's lazy,
right?
How long have I been saying that? He's
lazy as hell.
How long have I been saying that?
I've been trying to block it, but man, now I'm seeing it for myself, man. He gave up on so many routes today where he could have extended the play for Kurt and had some positive yardage. None more so pissed me off when he got a free fucking release off the line and he trotted on his route. Yeah. Brother, that route was designed for you. It was a clear route. Everybody was running towards the right. You had to run towards the left. Nobody was in that area
he finished
to cover you. Right?
Yeah.
It was good recognition by the corner of Denver to recognize, oh shit, this is where it's going. And he got off his man to clip Kyle. But there's no enthusiasm. And listen, I'm gonna say this. There's so many content creators that have called out Kyle Pitts for his laziness. And yo, shout out to them for having the balls to say it beforehand. I'm seeing it now. And I was a big Kyle Pitts fan, but man, listen, that ship is sailing as far as being a fan now, man, because now I'm seeing it for myself. Like, wow. I mean, I saw the tendencies and I saw why people would say that, but I was thinking, I'm like, you know what? This is just a kid that's learning the game. Give him time. This is a kid that's just learning. You know, they were having him learn multiple positions. Wide receiver was a rumored one of alongside with his natural position as a tight end. But damn it, man, I'm done with Kyle Pitts. I'm done. I'm sorry. And you said, Smitty, you know, you said about Zach making adjustments. It's hard to make adjustments when not everybody buys in, or it's hard to make adjustment when everybody's not all
Pitts
in.
The only one not buying in because Ray Cloud producing every week.
But to your point. But to your point, if he's going to be that man or that guy to attack the middle, There's really no adjusting to that. So that's an area of an offense we can't enjoy. So it has to be this makeshift shit week in and week out. Putting people in placements that they don't belong in. Like Ray McCloud should not be as effective as he is as a third receiver in the middle when you got Kyle Pitts there as the mismatch consistently week in and week out. That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. But there's no connection. There's no connection with the quarterback and the,
I just had to
and
say
the
that.
tight end.
I just had to say that.
No
I'm sorry.
But I've been saying that though. It's crazy. I've been saying it.
Yeah, but there's no connection with those two. And we've been seeing that there's no connection with those two. You'll see games where Kyle Pitts is wide open, but Kirk Cousins not looking. Why? Because I don't trust you. And then you'll see Kyle Pitts stop on his routes because he ain't gonna throw it to me anyway. And then next thing you know,
I'm gonna be honest,
he really actually needed you. And just like that Berto was talking about, that could have been an easy big game, chunk play.
Yeah,
and those chunk plays is what starts lessening the defense. They make them start backing up or making them respect more of what your alignments are. What does that attribute to? Lighter boxes or a defense that you spread out. The run game comes to life in that. Atlanta didn't do enough period to challenge this Broncos defense at all today, man. So
and crazy thing is, Kirk sees that shit in practice, and he knows it's going to go straight to the damn playing field, so he don't even look that way. And honestly, I don't blame him because Ross Dwelly got a goddamn catch today, his first damn catch of the year. And you mean to tell me that motherfucker couldn't get open? Come on now. But I'm not gonna go on and on. But hold on, Chris, let Cam speak because I know he got something to say.
Yeah, go ahead, Cam.
I was just gonna say, no, I'm honestly soaking everything in. So it's not that I'm eager to say I'm soaking everything in. But I have noticed when Chris you talked about and Smitty and Berto, you all mentioned it. There's no connection between Kirk and Kyle. And I always thought to myself, going into this season, I was like, wow, like we got Darnell Mooney, Drake's coming back. He's primed for a revenge season. Kyle Pitts. We got great running backs in Tyler Algier and Bijan. So our offense is great. It's stacked. Mm-hmm. But then as the season kept progressing, particularly as we were winning games, right? I used to think to myself, how come he doesn't throw it that much to, Kyle? And I'm thinking, well, Pitts is very sloppy. Yeah, Natalie said Pitts is a very sloppy route runner.
He's always been that.
Need to move on from him. I seen that. And I was like, why doesn't Kirk really throw to Kyle? And I used to think like, well, okay, is he not throwing it to Kyle because Kyle is heavily guarded by his defenders, by his corners? Is he not getting open? Is he just not open? But now as you all continue to expound upon it, I never thought to myself that Kyle could do all that he can as 6'6". He's a 6'6" tight end, 6'7", can do all that he can. 9 times out of 10, he's going to be taller than his cornerback, than the person that is defending him. He could do all that he can to do whatever, push off, whatever, however the ref don't see it. Just catch the ball and try. Just try. And when you all are expounding upon that, it makes perfect sense. Why Kyle Pitts has a lot less targets than Drake London, Ray McCloud, and Darnell Mooney. So I honestly I don't know enough of Kyle because I'm literally watching the game for both sides of the ball. But now going forward, I need to watch it like a few games for specific individuals. And when Berto said Kyle Pitts is lazy, I was like, in my mind, I was like, I know
saying that though.
Ain't just commit blasphemy on this podcast, bro. Like, but then when you said that other content creators have made that declaration, it's like, oh, it's a lot serious than what it is for real. And a lot of people wouldn't say that because it's Kyle Pitts. Like, he's Kyle Pitts. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a great receiver. But now that you all express upon it, it makes total sense. So going forward, I am looking to see what changes will be made. If that means giving up, going a different route, going a different way from Kyle Pitts, then so be it. Because clearly there isn't a connection. That's why That's why Tom Brady and Gronk were so great together. That's why Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey are the greatest quarterback tight end duo of this generation, of my generation right now. And there's not a connection that now that I can go back and look, there's not a connection between them. So I strongly agree with y'all.
I'm a backtrack on something.
You just gave me a headache, brother. Just thinking about, because my thing is Kirk Cousins. Every tight end that Kirk Cousins has played with, he's made the tight end has made a difference on the team.
Again, Chris, for now, that is the point. Those guys were in practice every day, working together, talking to each other, getting on the same page. Because let's be real, if you're on the same page, you're on the same page. That means on the practice field, on the game field. That lets me know in the film room or practice or whatever, they don't communicate at all, because it shows. Yeah. They're honestly, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna backtrack on what I said on the show I was on the other day with Ben, Broncos content creator.
Mm-hmm.
I'm calling it right now, and I'm just starting to see it. Kyle Pitts getting traded this offseason, and there's no reason for the Falcons to keep him. It's just a wasted pick. He's a bust, and if he's to save his career, he needs to go somewhere where he can be utilized properly for what he feel like he's worth. Because honestly, I just don't think he just wants to be in Atlanta. Because I feel like if he goes somewhere else, say like he goes to Kansas City with an Andy Reid or Sean McVay out in Los Angeles, or an offensive coordinator that can utilize a big guy like him with a top-notch quarterback, and there's no shot to Kirk Cousins. But I feel like if he goes to an offense with a top-flight quarterback, Kyle Pitts would be a totally different person. That's honestly because he's not bound to this coaching staff. He's not bound to this organization. And honestly, I just honestly think he just doesn't want to be here anymore. And it's starting to show. Because honestly, why would you even get on the damn plane if you're going to go out on the field and don't even attempt to goddamn go out on the route? It just doesn't make sense. So we talk about this offense, has its peak. Kyle Pitts has peaked. I think he peaked after Matt Ryan left, honestly, because he hadn't been the same. You get a veteran quarterback, but you're still playing like you with the same three motherfuckers before him.
Yeah.
So just make it make sense.
Still injured, or like he's still injured or something. Hey, I got a question for the panel though.
He injured up here. This is where he injured at. It's up here.
It's effort for sure. It's definitely effort for sure. But Darnell Mooney, do you guys think we should have set him this game instead of rolling him out there with the already Achilles? I say that because of this.
Hamstring.
He has a hamstring injury. Yeah. And he has that hamstring injury because I guarantee you he was out there running, trying to compensate for the Achilles, probably trying not to put a lot of pressure on it. And it ended up irritating the hamstring because it's all connected. And do you think we should have rested Darnell Mooney this particular game? Because we still had Kadero Hodge, still had Casey Washington. All those guys were active. Ray McLeod did well.
The way everybody looked today, they should have let everybody down since they made this a damn preseason type game. Just keep it real with you.
I mean, I asked that because we jump on. I mean, even though hopefully, we're pretty much. Hopefully, it's not season injury. You know, I'm not assuming that, but we jump on Todd Bowles for when he left Chris Godwin in the game that time, and you see what Chris Godwin is. But I'm not going to just jump on another head coach and not my own. So that's why I was just asking, do you guys think we should have set Darnell Mooney in this particular game with the bye week?
You absolutely correct, because I said it. 5 minutes into the third quarter, I think it was halfway through the third, and we were down 31-6. I said you should have just switched everything out right then and there because the game was over. You shouldn't even have to wait till halfway through the fourth quarter to put Penix in. You should have let him play the whole quarter and a half to see, to get some snaps in. Because we all know at 31-6, you're not coming back on that defense. And again, these are this type of bonehead mistake that Raheem Morris is making that he shouldn't be making. And honestly, what he talks about what he's learned from coaches since leaving the Falcons, but it's not showing. In some instances, it's not showing because preparation is everything. preparation should be the first thing that you know is when the team steps on the field. Preparation, sense of urgency, and all that good stuff. And the last 2-3 games, we haven't seen it.
You know what's funny? I do a little bit of NBA content as well, and of course, y'all know the back and forth between players and load management, right? Kawhi Leonard is one of my favorite basketball players. He's notorious for load managing. Chris, to answer your question, do we think that they should have sat Darnell Mooney out with the Achilles? I do.
Okay.
I do. I think going into this game, if you leave out Darnell Mooney, I still think Atlanta had enough to win. Like I said in the beginning of the show, we just got cooked. We got outworked. We got outcoached. That's just the bottom line. But I do think Atlanta has shown in the past that we have enough weapons on the offense, particularly amongst our receivers and particularly amongst our running backs. We have enough to capitalize and to win. If I am Raheem Morris, if I'm trying to make a playoff push, if I'm trying to be top 4 in the NFC, where I can have home field advantage or something like that, I will do nothing to compromise that. If that means sitting out a key player of my rotation, so be it. This is Denver. I get it, right? This was a must-win game for Atlanta in order to increase their lead in the NFC South, right? I get that, but this is not. It's not December 1st. It's not the game against Washington or even our last game. It would be different if it was our last game, but I do think that they should have sat him for only precautionary reasons. And I don't know if y'all remember. I want to say it was the Dallas game or the Saints game. Grady Jarrett had done something to his Achilles, and they took him out for precautionary reasons. So if we're going to have that energy for one of our best defensive linemen, then why can't we have that energy for one of our best receivers?
Just the starters in general.
Just because the starters.
They started dropping like flies, and I'm glad you brought that up, Cameron, because that was going to be my next point. Atlanta Falcon Fandemic, man, y'all go check him out on YouTube. Thank you for the donation, man. We appreciate it. So he don't Kyle Pitts, he don't like the pigeon-toed athletes anyway. And I agree with that. But here go a question. But before we get into that, man, today was the reason why I've been telling y'all, and y'all pissed at me. But sometimes things run their course. Grady Jarrett will probably get traded this offseason as well, if not released, because injuries have started to become too bit of a recurrence with him. And sometimes it only takes one injury to really pretty much get that effect going. And ever since he's torn his ACL, he's going out of game probably 3 or 4 times this year. And this could be the last we see of Grady Jarrett. And I hate to say it, I'm a big Grady Jarrett fan, but I'm a realist. And I don't get attached to players, but you got to start looking at the future at that position, which they already have with Dorlis and Ruke. And honestly, it just seems like the end is near. So this team could look a lot different next year with key players not being here. So that's something to keep an eye on. But I think the Hall says
Brady before the season and could have, but whatever.
The Hall says, "What's going on, fellas? You got a question? Why do we as an organization always has coaching problems? We shouldn't look this bad on defense." I'll let Berto start off, and then we'll go from there.
That's a tremendous question. Why do we as an organization always have coaching problems? I think a lot of it had to do with the influence Rich McKay had on this organization, always finding or trying to figure out what would be the next go-to. I mean, this is a guy that came from a Tampa Bay Buccaneers organization that, saw a lot of success with John Gruden in his early years. When he came to Atlanta, I think one of his first hires, if I'm not mistaken, was Jim Mora Jr. And, and he was horrible at that. Lasted only 2 years. And then he struck gold with Mike Smith, and the Mike Smith era was probably the best Falcons era that we've had to date.
Agreed.
But to answer this, why does this organization always have coaching problems? Yeah, I can't put my finger on it. I mean, I could. I think it was always Rich McKay, but recently now, I don't know, man. Is it Arthur Blank? Could it be him? Just a old man wanted quick success? Could be that.
I mean, that's where I was going to go with it because he's the only constant, regardless.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Arthur. I ain't gonna lie, great man, does a lot for the community. I can go on and on about Arthur Blank for real. He's just a person. But I mean, you think about it, Rich McKay supposedly isn't in football operations anymore. But the only person that still is Arthur Blank. But even he supposedly has stepped out of the scene too. But this goes back to really, man, and I'll say it goes back to Raheem already having things set in stone in his mind about the coaching staff. He was going to bring Zach Robinson here no matter what. He was going to bring Jimmy Lake here no matter what. Didn't go do any due diligence to try to see if he can even draw anybody to the team. He already had him set in stone. You don't even know if anybody made a phone call like, hey, man, I wouldn't mind coming. Oh, no, we got it, bro. I got my team. It could have been like that.
Yeah, but Brian Flores out there, man, and what he capable of. Ain't no way in hell you bring in a damn first-time defensive coordinator, especially when you just lost a veteran in Ryan Nielsen, who did a damn good job, even though Jacksonville is not playing good this year. Ryan Nielsen is still, to me, is one of the better defensive play calls in this league. And I'm telling y'all now, he's going to become the next coach of the New Orleans Saints, and we better be ready. Because if they build through defense in the draft and free agency, that team gonna be a problem. I'm gonna just be real with y'all, and we've already had problems with them. So like you said, when Raheem Morris made that decision to already have his team together, that was a sign that he was not ready to be a coach. Because a guy that's been around as long as he have knows that you got to go down every avenue to pick the right coaching staff to be successful. Because even though you have, and we talk about this all the time, Chris, even though y'all cool, y'all friends ain't always the way to go when you handling business. Just like going into business with family, that's not good. So if just because you cool with them, just because y'all know each other, doesn't mean y'all gonna blend and go, blend and communicate and get the job as coaches done the right way. That's just common sense, and that's just life. But again, with Brian Flores out there, that would have been my go-to guy, point blank period, because I know exactly what I'm getting. I know exactly what he's done in this league. Look at what he's doing in Minnesota
without Danielle Hunter.
Without Danielle Hunter, and really no clear cut edge rusher, just like us.
Right.
No clear cut edge rusher. He got
Jonathan Bernard up there, but
Bernard, right.
So it's just like
Harrison Smith, he about 40. So
still out there doing his thing though. Still out there. And then they playing with effort, man. They putting the players in the best position possible so they can be successful. And we just don't always see that here. We see glimpses, but we do not see it. And we've also said this as well about nepotism. So it's just like it happens. It happens in life, period. A quick update about Darnell Mooney. He says, I'll be fine. My right leg was giving out on me a little bit, but I'll be fine.
And that could have been the altitude. So that, that happens.
Right. I was going to say, like, they playing a mile above sea level. Like, it's not every day that you do that.
Wait a minute. When did
they
that lets you, Cam, did anybody, when did they really leave?
Yesterday.
They left.
That was for real yesterday.
Yesterday.
I want to say it was yesterday. If it wasn't yesterday, then it was Friday.
No, they left yesterday.
They left yesterday.
Morning.
Oh, so it's funny
morning.
because I was on Twitter and I was, I follow, well, not I follow, but your For You page, it brings up our retweet and the algorithm works. I brought up there was this tweet and it had the Atlanta Falcons, like it had Bijan, they just now boarding the plane. And one coach was like, hold up, why they just now leave it, yo? Like, you supposed to be there a few days before the game even starts.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, y'all just sealed your own fate with this game. If y'all are leaving a day before the game, that's crazy work, bro.
They got to adjust to that altitude, man. I just don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
Right,
Yeah.
bro. Like I said, don't even come back to Atlanta. Hell, just go straight to Denver after the Saints game. Oh, my own listen to me.
Oh man, what did I say in the text message earlier, Chris? I mean, Smitty. There's 2 flights that should be booked going back to Atlanta. Atlanta players going back to Atlanta, and then Jimmy Lake going to
Anchorage, Alaska.
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 Anchorage, that's crazy, yo. Crazy word.
Him up there. All right, but there's something else that we need to focus on, and that's the discipline of this Falcons team. Again, a lot of drives. Well, in the first quarter, there was a couple drives, where we got close to the red zone that got stymied by flags. Yet again, of course, we are a product, or this team is a product of the head coach. Is Raheem Morris a disciplined head coach, or is he one of those head coaches that can make, just the correct calls or whatever the case is? This is a guy that has learned from the Shanahans, Mike Shanahan, learned from the Gruden himself. I mean, you got to know how to have this team up and right and ready at all times. So to get flags, and these consistent flags when it counts the most, especially in the red zone, it got to stop too, because those also, those are drive killers, momentum shifters for the opposing team as well. So your thoughts right quick. Is Raheem I'm trying to find the better words to kind of bring this all together. But, in all essence, what translates on the field is piss poor discipline, man. And you got to blame the coach on that.
And the thing about it is, real quick, I'll be brief, and then I'm gonna shoot it right to Cam. I think it is. I think discipline is an issue because we've been seeing penalties all year, and it's been timely penalties. It's been when they're happening at some of the most best times where we're having a drive going, we're giving it to another defense. Then penalty. Next thing you know, we're having to punt. Getting into the red zone, penalty. Next thing you know, we have to kick a field goal that we may or may not make. So I do believe that it is a discipline issue. And with this team, just period, even it's 2 different head coaches, but we're having the same issues, losing to rookies. I felt like it was the ghost of Will Levis out there today, balling on us, and his name was Bo Nix today.
Yeah.
And it's just like this stuff just happens with this franchise, and it's just like with the players, the personnel, the coaching. Regardless, it's still happening with this franchise with 2 different set of coaches. Like, that's concerning to me as well. Like, why? And then we're not disciplined. Berto, we're not disciplined. I'm about to answer my own question, because if we were, we wouldn't be losing to the Seahawks. We wouldn't be losing. We wouldn't be getting up and losing to the Saints, not coming in being ready for your most hated division rival. And you would have been more ready for this game too. I'm just saying, like, regardless, we let people get off of their losing streaks against us. It's been happening all year
long.
Why is nobody saying anything about that in the locker rooms? Like, hey guys, this team is down. Let's keep them down. Not on us. What happened to who the F is next? We're next. That's what it looks like. My bad. Go ahead, Cam.
Nah, gang, you're not.
You're next.
You got it, man. I was just gonna say, and this goes back to the Twitter post that I saw. I think a lot of times it's not just what you do on the field. I think it's what you do off the field. I feel like as a team, now maybe there were some things that happened that caused them to leave yesterday, but I do think that if you show up early, like 2 to 3 days before your game in a city that is known for opponents in every sports league to have a problem, specifically because of the fact that it's a mile above sea level, I think if you would have taken that more seriously, it would have showed your intention. It would have showed your intentionality. It would have showed your discipline. So I do think, no, we're not disciplined. And then y'all talked about nepotism, right? I do think I was gonna make an analogy. Like, my freshman year of college, I was rooming with one of my closest friends and who I love to this day, but he was my roommate and he wasn't. I'm a neat freak. He wasn't as neat as me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I've had to have conversations like, hey man, like you gotta, be, like his girl was coming at the time, like his girlfriend was coming, and I was like, yo, like make sure you straighten up for your girlfriend, yada 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 yada. I don't like her, But at the same time, I live with you. Like we shared the same bathroom, so it was like I live with you, bro. So my point is saying, like,
if your girl come over and she see that nasty bathroom, that gonna fall on your ass.
That's gonna fall on me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
so y'all just in here nasty. That's exactly what it's gonna be.
hey, look, that man, y'all, man, okay.
What the fuck?
Okay. What I was saying was is that because me rooming with my close friend didn't necessarily mean that he was going to have the same discipline as me, the same intentionality as me in maintaining our space. You know what I'm saying? So I do think that there is some form of nepotism regarding Jimmy Lake and Zach Robinson and Raheem, but I don't know, man. I don't know. And I think I forgot it was a comment under here. It said that if we don't win after this bye, I do think we are in deep trouble.
Yeah, I've been saying that for the last 2 weeks. I just saw it coming. Because Chris will tell you, I said it 2 weeks ago. We lose to New Orleans or Denver. Couldn't you really trust this coaching staff going forward? I say no. And I hate to say it, and it might, Bert on there tried to calm me down a little bit. But I think Raheem Morris' job is on the line this down the stretch. And the reason why I say that, he got up to a 6-2 start. So we know that lets us know he has the personnel to win, even though it's not the right personnel to win. He made do with it the first 8 games, so why he can't make do with it the last 8 games? And Arthur Blank is going to look at that. Terry Fontenot, he could be on the way out too, so who knows?
You got to look at it like this too. It is a copycat league. You have 11 weeks worth of footage now that teams can now, really study the intricacies of a Falcons offense. So it's really up to the coaching staff to evolve as that. Raheem, Jimmy, if he's still around, Zach, to really leave what the old scheme called for and introduce something fresh the rest of the way. Plain and simple.
Only thing I'm gonna say is, Smitty, I have to respectfully disagree. Now, in terms of Jimmy Lake,
don't tell me why. No. Tell me why you disagree with it.
Okay. I was a graduate assistant with the University of Georgia Athletics Association. I came into contact with a variety of student athletes. My senior year of college at Kennesaw State, I was an intern with student athletics. Now I know this is collegiate and we're talking about pros, but I do feel I have spoken with a lot of athletes who feel that development is important, particularly not just for them, but also for their coaches. And I think that coming into this year, I didn't necessarily expect Raheem to be a Dan Campbell type of coach. I didn't expect him to be that top tier, that top NFL coach that everybody is praising. But I did expect him to take what he has and say, you know what? This is year one. If Arthur Blank has faith in me to get this organization, to get this team where he needs it to be, that I feel like I can do that. But I will say that a lot of coaches and a lot of owners and general managers have a win now. What can you do for me now mentality? And that's okay. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. There are very few teams that we've seen in the past that have hired coaches and have made deep playoff runs. If Atlanta does not win on December 1st against the Chargers, I do not think that Raheem Morris is going to get fired. Only because this is like
no. I'm saying if they fall to the second half of the season, I think he gets fired.
Okay,
not just one game. Fall to the second half of the season.
To the second half of the season.
Say like if they fall to 8-9 or 9-8 and fail to make the playoffs. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
go ahead.
Yeah, I was okay. I'm glad you reiterated that, because in the last 2 games we have gotten in our own way, and we can talk about players, we can talk about personnel, but we're going to go back to the coaches. We're going like y'all talked about Jimmy Lake. It's going to fall back on Jimmy Lake. It's going to fall back on Zach Robinson. It's going to fall on Raheem even more, because he was the one that brought both of them here. And I'm willing to bet all of my money that Coach Raheem would let Jimmy go before Zach, only because the offense has done a lot more and produced more this season than the entire D line. Not secondary. Our secondary has done way more than the D line. But I'm just saying, if we lose these games, and to your point, Smitty, to the second half of the season, we will get in our own way. And I think, and I'm sorry, if we get in our own way and we lose these games, yes, it is very fair to mention that Coach Rob can be gone within one season. But I do think that won't happen, because I do think that there is still a lot of football to be played. And on top of that, our toughest opponents is Minnesota and Washington. Now, based off what we've seen in the last 2 weeks with today, New Orleans, and even Dallas, because I thought Dallas was going to come back and win that game as well. We can't even look over the weakest. We can't even look over New York. We can't even look over the Carolina Panthers, who's our last team. We mess around and be in a position where Carolina will be our make it or break it to get into the playoffs. You know what I mean? So I do think it's very fair to recognize that Coach Raw can be on the hot seat if we get in our own way. When the stage was already set first, we just got to execute.
But if we get in our own way, that's definitely a coaching issue, because that lets us know they're not prepared.
Absolutely,
fellas,
I agree.
Fellas, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Raheem ain't going nowhere. Raheem just got here, and Arthur Blank ain't the type of owner to just let a guy go just like that. You just seen what we just did with Arthur Smith. Now, I know he getting older. I know he got less years ahead of him than he does behind him. But my thing is, Raheem ain't going nowhere. If we go 8-7, if we have a losing record, even if we go 9-8, it don't matter, y'all, because it's still gonna be his first year. He's gonna tell Arthur that, hey, my first year, you know what I'm saying, I can make things get up and go. I see what's going on. I know exactly what we need. He's gonna go in there and talk it up to him, bro.
We've already lost. And see, this is why I say it has to be major change this offseason with these veterans. You got to think about
it's your owner, bro. It ain't me.
No,
it's
I'm
your
telling
owner.
You, if Raheem Morris stays, there's got to be a major shakeup with this roster, because what's on defense right now with these veterans, with Grady Jarrett, Jesse Bates, Justin Simmons, Matthew Judon, there's got to be a major shakeup, because if we have all these veterans and this defense is looking this bad, it's got to be a shakeup, no matter if it's the coaching staff, no matter if it's the roster. It's got to be a major shakeup. But let's welcome our buddy from the Birdcage LLC, Mr. Ryan, the historian. Ryan, what's up, man?
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
Good, man.
Hey, man, everything.
Man, don't come here talking like no phone sex operator, man. Tell the folks what's up.
Oh, Paul, what are you doing? Don't do that.
No, see, Smitty, I normally give Smitty a hard time when he come in there, so it's rightfully earned. But I'm gonna tell you this: I'm keeping calm to keep from exploding, because we literally just had the benediction, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, I already know you got that one, man. I ain't even worried about it.
Right now, you already know. But let's just call a spade a spade. I was just listening to you guys in the back. Y'all were talking about nepotism and a few things. We've seen nepotism in so many different ways, when not just with the Falcons. You can look at the Georgia Bulldogs. That's the same thing that we said with them. So, and here's the sad part. This is the irony of both of these teams, and they mirror each other. You got an offensive coordinator that was hired because that was Kirby's best friend. You look at Jimmy Lake and you look at Raheem Morris at this point. Raheem literally brought in a guy that's his partner, and you let Ryan Nielsen walk, who understood how to use the talent that was here with Jerry Gray. And we were running a 4-3 defense. We ran a lot of dime, and we ran prevent defense, but we were generating a pass rush. You go from being the number 10 rated defense in the league, top 10 defense in the league, and being the number 1 red zone defense in the league to now you're dead last in sacks, talking about being able to pressure quarterbacks. I'm going to tell you this here.
QB hits.
Bo Nix was this is how comfortable Bo Nix was. We ran that man's bathwater, brought his slippers, gave him a shot of whiskey and a goddamn stogie. That's what we got for him.
Don't forget his robe now.
Homeboy was comfortable as hell. All you had to do was just grab a tray and say, Mr. Nix, how would you like your steak tonight? You pretty much let that man carve your ass up tonight. Let's call a spade a spade. Man.
He a rookie and he looked like a fifth year quarterback.
Think about it. This man looked like the second coming of John Elway back in 1984. Even though he was drafted in 83, 84 is when he stepped out of his shadow. That's the reason I'm saying 84. You literally made this dude look like John Elway reincarnated in Denver. And this dude been up and down like giraffe pussy this year. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say it like that. I apologize.
You good. You good.
Yeah. So and here's my thing. Normally I have more decorum, but today is a day I get to be a little bit of a fan and I get to talk a little trash. But it's defense that's on the field. I don't know what the hell this is. At the beginning of the season, it turned. Let's just be real.
Soft shell taco, mild sauce.
For all my military vets out there, my fellow brothers and sisters at arms, you know what I'm about to say when I say this. Our defense looks like a foobar of a situation, fucked up beyond recognition. If you've been in the military, you've heard leaders in your division say that before. So what that means, this defense is unrecognizable compared to the first few weeks of this. You gave the Kansas City Chiefs a scare earlier this year. You were playing back and forth with the Steelers, and you kept their offense out of the end zone. You gave the Philadelphia Eagles a fight in their home. They don't lose at home like that. And your defense was the one who stepped up. So now you get into the part of the season where you get comfortable. No, you can't get comfortable at any time because it doesn't matter what team you play, you can get popped at any time because you got guys with beards, you got dudes with house mortgages, baby mamas, freaking side chicks they got to take care of, their grandmamas, all this stuff. You
and they got to pay the strippers.
To make sure, and also you got to pay the chicken wing chefs that fry Smitty chicken up too. Don't think I forgot.
I think Ryan's just summed up Chris. Wing. Damn, Chris, you on blast like that? Damn, Ryan, you do Chris like that on
man.
No, he wholesome, man. I'm just messing around. Hey, man, look.
Hey,
listen,
fellas.
Raheem, let me tell you, the Falcons got me in the mood to where anybody can catch it today. And I know your boy TJ was talking smack on Twitter today, and I went up in there. He said, no, I'm just telling you. He said, their silence says a lot. Oh, you got him this week. But I know he watching. So guess what? I'm the one that said I'm still standing in the paint. I'm still talking my smack because y'all bums still at the bottom of the division. So I don't want to hear a damn thing from anybody to eat out of a gumbo bowl that looked like a toilet bowl. So again, getting back to the Falcons.
Before you go on, let me say this right quick. The thing that pissed me off the most with this game, and I said this before, man. Raheem Morris coached here 5 years. He knows exactly what Sean Payton is about. Why the fuck were we so unprepared this game? It just didn't make any sense.
Overconfidence.
Telling you, man.
Ryan, go ahead, man. My bad.
And here's the problem. If your secondary is supposed to be the strength of your defense, why do you put them in positions where they're assed out? Understand this. If I'm a defensive back, that's my old position. I take pride in that still. If I'm a DB, hell, I don't want to play 5 yards off of this guy.
Hell no.
I don't want my guys to play 5 yards off majority of the game. Prevent defense pretty much prevents you from winning games. You have to allow your guys to throw routes off. But it's not just the Falcons. It's being coached league-wide. It's not just us. Defensive backs are not allowed to play bump and run anymore because defensive coordinators are afraid of their guys getting beat. You have to understand. Guys are going to get beat. Guys are going to make mistakes. You have to be aggressive at all times.
Well, not
you
just
can't
that,
sit there
Ryan.
and pussyfoot around.
Not just that, but now the league favors the offensive skill set player more than they do defense. So it's hard to play man to man because of that. Any little sign of a little push beyond the fire, there's the flag. You can't get up in somebody's grill and put hands on them before they're calling some stupid flag. So yeah, it does favor the offense more than anything, man. Crazy.
And here's the crazy part, fellas, because I ain't gonna take too much more of your time or whatnot. But here's the other crazy part about the whole situation. When you look at the fact that you have a defensive mastermind, and I guarantee you he in shackles right now. Talking about Jerry Gray. He's in shackles right now. You can tell. Because this is not a Jerry Gray type of defense, period.
Yep.
I'm telling you,
He
ain't got no
and
voice.
Let's be honest on this one, fellas. Sean Payton was groomed, and I got to give him his credit. As much as we can't stand him, Sean Payton was groomed under Tom Coughlin, under freaking your boy Bill Parcells, the big tuna. Sean Payton was groomed to understand how to attack a defense because he had defensive-minded coaches and had an offensive guru type coach to help them. Think about that, man. Tom Coughlin was a special teams coach that became an offensive mind before he became a head coach. Sean Payton learned from multiple people, and he was put in situations to where that is. It's levels to that. Sean Payton had to develop offenses. Let's be real. Sean Payton coached one of the greatest running backs in college when you look at Marshall Faulk. You think about it. So he was in situations where he understands how to use offensive weapons. We fucked up by bringing in a first-year offensive coordinator opposed to bringing in a veteran OC and then bringing a defensive coordinator OC to learn under this man. And the same thing we did with this defense with Jerry Gray and Jimmy Lake. Situation should have been reversed. So when you look at it all the way around, there are many issues with this. Raheem Morris has always been the guy that has walked into situations that were already set up for him his whole career. From Tampa, and he screwed that up. He goes to, he's bouncing around the league. He goes to LA and takes over a Wade Phillips defense. Raheem has never really had to build anything because it's already been ready-made for him.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
it was ready-made here too. All they had to do was add the right personnel to it. That's all they had to do.
That's his point.
It's the last thing I got for y'all, and I got to get out of here because I'm about to have me a stiff drink. Literally,
hey man,
enjoy yourself. I'm gonna have a drink.
Enjoy yourself.
We'll end it on yours. Go ahead. You close the show. You close the show because we about to end it over here too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this, man. There needs to be changes made expeditiously because if these changes are not made expeditiously, we're going to be looking for another head coach a lot sooner than we're supposed to. And remember this, Terry Fontenot does not have a contract, folks. So all of this is going to fall back on Terry. Terry's balanced out the books. He gave us a defense where he fucked up at. You brought Raheem Morris in opposed to Steve Wilkes, who should have been the head coach, either him or Jim Harbaugh, because these guys understand how to get guys how to run through brick walls, how to play, and pretty much how to win. Raheem Morris, brother, you don't understand how to win yet. And it's sad that you've been in the league this long and you didn't even bring in Brian Flores when Flores had a chance.
Bro,
it was on the table
there. That's why I keep bringing up the defense.
So again, for a guy that's a defensive guru, he about as bright as a box of rocks because damn it, you bring in a first-year coordinator that got fired at Washington because he was getting belt the ass in Washington. So you bring in a guy that literally can't coach.
My opinion, those receivers carried that team.
Exactly. So you brought in a guy that got fired from Washington, and the coach that is in Alabama right now, Kalen DeBoer, was the man who pretty much took that team to a national championship. So that should tell you enough about the intelligence and the matriculation that Jimmy Lake has when it comes to developing guys. So, hey, man, as we say in the birdcage, man, you either get right or you get left. So, Raheem, if you don't get your shit right, brother, you're going to get your shit left, man. I appreciate y'all having me on.
Wait, before you go, drop the socials. Come on now.
Hey, Birdcage LLC, Thursday, 8 p.m. You know how we get down. YouTube, X platform. Also, we have interviews that are going to be coming through as well. So you check those out. But we're always live after Falcon games. And I also do a halftime report for the Atlanta Falcons as well. So like I said, man, you either get right or you get left, baby. It's the bird cage. Appreciate y'all having me on.
Tell them about
Always.
that interview that you did the other day before you get out of here, man. That was
we had Denver Broncos legendary linebacker, Mr. Carl Mecklenburg, who's in their ring of honor to join me in the bird cage last week. Did an interview with him, talked about his career. Outside of his career, he talked about this game, and literally he broke it down and said, hey, if Bo Nix gets comfortable, it's going to be one of those days. And he talked about the defense.
He was right.
He was right.
Yep.
He's absolutely right. And you just talking about bringing in John Harbaugh. I definitely wanted Harbaugh, but it's a possibility. I mean, maybe he wanted to go to LA, be out there in that warmer weather. Who knows? But could people are going to start saying, hey, should we have got Bill Belichick? I promise you, that chatter is going to start coming up again.
I was just going to ask that because I know y'all have mentioned Harbaugh and all these other coaches. What about Belichick? I was just going to ask that.
The only way that was going to happen is him bringing his guys, and Terry was like, no, could that mean I'm gone?
But okay, but they win. I'm just saying they got the stats to back it up. I mean,
but do they win after the last 3 seasons he's had without Tom Brady? Do they win? That's
another debate.
That's a good question.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a good question.
Debate.
But I do think, honestly, look at his quarterbacks that he's had. He's had Jacoby Brissett. He had Mac Jones, who did absolutely nothing. Who was, in my opinion, a bust. So yes, to your point, without Tom Brady, does he win? Maybe not as much, but he still wins. He knows what it takes.
But
okay,
if he
y'all think Bill
Cousins,
Belichick could have been winning with Kirk Cousins?
If he comes with Kirk Cousins, that could be a different story.
Yeah.
Y'all can clip this if you want. Lad McConkey is gonna have 150 yards on us, and he's gonna have 2 TDs. Book it.
150 yards.
$150 on this defense.
He's coming home.
And he's gonna have 2 tutties.
Ooh, that's Lad.
1 or 2 tutties
right
he's
there.
gonna get.
So that means Justin Herbert gonna have 350.
Oh, 1,000. If Vlad have that,
and here's the thing, and the reason I say that is because again, it's the way that you play off. If you're gonna play 5 yards off, and any of us dog fans in here already know what Lad can do, and Lad is doing that now. It's gonna get worse when we think about it. It's gonna get worse when we play the Raiders and Brock Bowers goes off.
Bruh.
So again,
Lad, I ain't trying to do all that. That's crazy.
And it's so crazy. Dixon Wade just made a point because I had said this to you, Smitty.
It's true.
It's the truth.
It is true. Absolutely, man. Shout out my guy Justin Anthony 86, man. Bro, what the fuck did the Falcons even fly out to Denver today? Justin, you're a huge Denver Broncos fan.
Man, they didn't even get off the plane, my guy.
No, man, the game didn't even start. This is the preview show. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you talking about we ain't played yet. Yep. But Dixon Wade said, guys, if we lose 4 in a row, the Penix era might start. That will mean we are 6-7. And will play against Ritter and the Raiders. Smitty, what I said what I text you, I said
Gardner Minshew back in that though. Gardner Minshew started today.
It's gonna be a 4-game losing streak.
Yeah. But see, that's why I said I don't coming on the back end of this schedule. I'm honest. Y'all know I'm honest. I don't trust these coaches. Just keep it real with y'all. I don't trust them.
Hey, Lad just got hurt just now. As soon as I said that.
Yeah, he did.
Well, Ryan.
that was not the way.
That was a quick.
That's my prediction. That ain't gonna happen now.
Man. Hey.
Hold on. I guess I might need to stop speaking on some other players too. Now, shit.
No, go ahead. The rest of the season. I mean, the rest of the schedule. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Highlight some of all those. Khalil Mack.
What's Justin Jefferson? Tell me what Justin Jefferson's gonna do. Tell me what Justin Jefferson's gonna do.
Hey, Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold. Yo, he's blighting it up. But, man, folks, this comes to the end of the show, man. Cameron, thank you for coming on, man. We truly appreciate you, man. Please let the folks know where they can find you, man.
Yeah, man. You guys can find me on TikTok, GoTime at GoTime TV. I'm going to be posting my own content tomorrow. It'll be up tomorrow. So, and then you guys can find me on Instagram at GoTime PC. And again, I'm going to be posting on there as well. I am going to get started on my YouTube. So Smitty, I hadn't forgotten about you, man. I'm gonna.
Hey, make sure you stay backstage after we get done with the show.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's where y'all can find me at. And I love connecting with other Falcons content creators. Birdcage, I think I saw you when I was first on. And you was spitting game. You spitting game then, you spitting game now. The way you talk, you sound like you've been spitting game forever. So I love what y'all bring.
Hey, that's why we call him historian.
Historian, exactly. So I'm learning from y'all. I'm soaking everything in. So yeah, it's always an honor, Berto, for sure.
No doubt, man. Anytime, brother. Anytime.
Chris, what's up? Compliment, bro. We got to get you in the cage, man. Got to get that goat time in the cage, baby.
Oh, say when.
Anytime, bro.
A1 Forever Sports, though, for me, man, that's the platform on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. A1 Forever. Also, same thing. Well, actually, the real A1 Forever on TikTok. Hey, man, we can have a conversation. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Tough loss. Thank God for the bye. For real.
Facts.
That's what
Chicken
I'm talking
wing.
about. But y'all know where to find me, man. Find me at American Deli. I'm just joking.
No, man, no.
You ain't joking.
You ain't bullshit. Nope, that's how they can find your ass. Yep. Oh man.
Hey, remember they got
no.
You got them lemon pepper wings from Magic City on Grubhub now.
Y'all know where to find me, man. Smitty Sports Machine on YouTube. Fatboy Slim _21 on Twitter. Find me Tuesdays at 7:00 on the NFC South Roundtable. It's gonna be a tough one this week, but y'all know I got a strong will, and I'm gonna be ready to go off on them clowns. But again, every Wednesday, y'all catch us at 9 p.m. On the NFC South Roundtable, man. The Falcons Roundtable. It didn't go through last week, but we're gonna get that thing running up and right, and y'all gonna help us support that platform. So every Sunday y'all can catch us post game, and we got some things up our sleeve for the second half of the schedule as far as guests. So y'all stick with us, and we're gonna continue to try to bring y'all the best Falcon content out there.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, man.
Sure.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in this lovely Sunday afternoon. We're going to give that right back to y'all, man. We got about 400 eyes in here watching at one time. So shout out to everybody that came through and gave us your time, your energy, and your vent as well. The comments were lit. We appreciate everybody that came through. Again, I'm your boy Berto, host of the 95 North Falcons Talk Show, also the host of the 95 North Sports Machine. We appreciate everybody. You can also find me on Bleacher Report as your official content creator for these Atlanta Falcons. I just dropped a little bit of knowledge on that, so I highly suggest you guys go over there and check that out, man. But again, for the panel, for everybody, we thank you. We will see you Wednesday night. Until then, peace.